Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be sewing a Simplicity S9379. This has been called an apron dress or a back wrap dress. The pattern was originally made in the 1970s and has recently been re-released. I chose to make this dress in a cotton blend, and I'm going to be making view A without the front pocket. This pattern does call for notions, seam binding or stretch lace. I chose to make it without either of those. Alright, let's start cutting out our pattern pieces. I have the pieces here pinned to the fabric. I've started with the main bodice. We also have pieces for the halter straps, the belt, and then a few pieces for the inner lining that are going to be attached at the top of the dress. Once you've finished cutting out all of your pattern pieces, you can begin to transfer your markings to your fabric. I chose to just use some simple chalk that I had around the house to get this done. When marking darts, I like to pay extra close attention. I begin by marking down the circular dots, then I pull the pattern piece back, grab my ruler, and just make sure I'm sketching real clean lines. This helps pin nice clean darts and makes the sewing process a lot easier. Alright, now let's find our two center darts, pinch them together, and pin them into place. Now we are ready to sew our darts. I like to start the dart off with normal stitch length, and as I get closer to the end of the dart, I switch to the shortest stitch length. And I feel that this really helps with creating a smoother look on the front-facing fabric. Once your darts have been sewn, give it a good press. This time around, I just started on the outside, and then I flipped my piece over and pressed the darts facing outward. Now we're ready to move on to our second set of darts. We're going to follow the same steps as the smaller darts that we just completed, but this time around we're going to make sure that we're going to stop about halfway through the dart. We're going to secure that stitch by going backwards and forwards. We're going to skip about 1 inch, which should be marked by a dot, and we're going to resume all the way down to the point of the dart. This gap in the dart is going to allow for the belt to weave through. For the last dart, we're just going to follow the steps we did for the first 2 darts. Once all of the darts have been completed, we can go press them into place. The next step is to begin working on the halter straps. Fold one of the straps in half, connecting your marked dots. Sew your fabric inside out, starting with closing off one of the ends, pivot, and then sew straight down the rest of the strap. Repeat these steps for the second strap. Take the time to trim the extra fabric on your strap, and remember to trim the corner as well. This will create less bulk and make it easier to turn the strap right side out. Now you all are not going to make the mistake that I did while getting these straps to turn inside out. I was twisting and pulling and poking it with pencils and trying to push it through, all while forgetting that there are many simple tools that we can use to make this process really easy. The one I'm going to recommend and that I should have used for this project are the Dritz tube turners. I see them frequently on sale now. I think they can go from like $5 to $7, and there's a set of 3 sizes. This is what I would recommend for getting the straps the right side out. Let's move on to pressing the straps. We want to get some nice clean edges here. And then we're going to pin the straps to the right side of the front facing fabric, matching up the raw edges. You're going to pin them in between the 2 dots that you marked from the pattern. We're now going to sew the inner lining together. So there should be 3 pieces here. We're going to put 2 of the pieces right side of the fabric, contacting the right side of the fabric on one side. We're going to sew down that line and then repeat for the other side, so it should be one long piece. I then took this piece to my serger to finish off the raw edge. If you don't have a serger, you can use the zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Now we're going to take that inner lining piece of fabric and pin it all along the top right side of your main bodice. This means that the 2 straps should be sandwiched in there. So once that's all pinned, just give it a nice long sew all along that edge. Now before you get to the 2 edges of the dress, make sure you fold in both of those sides and sew over it so it'll be a nice clean finish when you flip it inside out. Then give it a good press. And now we can move on to creating the belt. This process is going to be exactly the same as creating the 2 halter straps. They're just going to be a bit longer. At both of the corners, the top corners of the dress, do a slip stitch to sew down the inner flap. This will keep the top part stabilized before we attach our belts. Then you can stitch that inner lining down on the darts so it stays in place. Now we're ready to attach the 2 belts to the dress. Open the inside of the dress and find the 2 furthest corners. Take about 1 inch of the belt and insert it into the dress, just right on top of that flap there. How I attach these is sew a box and then an X within the box to really secure these belts into place. I realized I didn't film any of this, but all of the unfinished edges on my dress I chose to sew through my serger. Now the pattern recommends doing a slip stitch to stitch up the hem. I chose to sew this down. I didn't like the look of the slip stitch. I just wanted a nice clean hemline. So choose which you would prefer, but either should work fine. All right, and now we're almost done with the dress. Flip the dress right side up, and now we are going to top stitch from the bottom corner up the side of the dress, up the front of the dress, down back the other side of the dress, and then you should be complete. And here is the completed dress. The dress features a halter strap neckline and a back wrap dress, crisscrossing the ties in the front and fully wrapping in the back. I hope you enjoyed the sew along. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more sewing content.